Now, I've always been a massive Lamborghini fan. In fact, it is my favorite supercar brand of all of them. I love the Huracan, the Aventador, even the new stuff is cool. And I even love the Urus. But here's the problem with the Urus, and maybe a little bit of the Huracan too, is that VW Group likes to share platforms. And that's perfectly fine. A lot of car companies share platforms. This one specifically shares it with the RS Q8, and this isn't the first time VW Group has done this before. Look at the Bentayga and the Q7 and then the Cayennes. They've done this plenty of times. This is no stranger to Volkswagen. And this is still a Lamborghini, but the question I want to answer today is it worth spending $100,000 or more on a Urus compared to the RS Q8? Well, today we're going to figure that out. I'm Aiden, and you're watching GodMax. Now, before we get any further, let's talk about price. Even on the new market, which the MSRP of this one is $242,000. Now, specifically, this one's used. So this one is listed for $200,000, and the RS Q8 new goes for $138,000. So you see about a $100,000 price gap on the new market. When it comes to used stuff, there's still about $100,000 in price difference. They kind of carry that through from the new to the used market. But on the exterior anyways, the Lamborghini, of course, has its very own unique styling. Sharper lines, sharper angles, very Lamborghini. If you look at this sitting next to an RS Q8, you wouldn't even think that they're built on the same platform because Lamborghini has done a very good job of making this their car. But it's overall still the same body style, still nearly the same exact dimensions. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go buy this thing because, of course, if you have the money, this is a way cooler car. But in the end, there are still similarities, but I don't think those shine very much on the exterior of this car. Now, let's talk about the motor because it might shine a little more there. Have you guys all heard the joke where if you open up an Audi, you see VW badges, and if you open up a Lamborghini, you see Audi badges? This kind of holds true here. Now, both the RS Q8 and the Lamborghini Urus use the 4-liter FSI twin-turbo V8. Now, there are power differences, of course. The RS Q8 makes 591 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque, and it is safe to say this one definitely makes more power. This one makes about in the 640 range when it comes to the 2021 model year like this one. If you get the newer ones, they make up to 657, I believe. And the torque figures are also higher than the Audi as well. Lamborghini has spent their own time tuning this engine a little bit differently than Audi tunes the RS Q8, but nonetheless, they're about the same. Now, performance-wise, let's talk about that. This will do 0 to 60 in a claimed 3.67, a 12.8 second quarter mile, and it'll do about 189 miles an hour. And you might say, well, that's fast. How much slower could the RS Q8 be? And you're right, the RS Q8 isn't much slower. 3.7 seconds claimed by Audi, and still a top speed of 189 miles per hour. So when it comes to powertrain, exterior looks, they're not very different. And they both use the same exact powertrain when it comes to their transmission. They're both all-wheel drive, of course. Again, Lamborghini tunes theirs a little bit differently than Audi does, but for the most part, they're exactly the same. Now, getting inside the Lamborghini Urus, let's talk about it. And I'm going to start with the pros of Lamborghini and what they've done right, how they've made this interior their own. First of all, the interior, like I said, very Lamborghini. They've given this the Huracan treatment. If you've ever seen a Huracan or been inside a Huracan, it's got a lot of things that are kind of pulled from it. It's got the same starter switch out of a Huracan, which is the fighter jet one where you can lift up and then hit the start-stop button. Of course, it's also got the gear selector for Strada Sport and Corsa mode, and then Ego selector, which is kind of your custom drive mode, along with some buttons below the Ego selector for adjusting your steering, suspension, and your drivetrain. The steering wheel is different from the RS Q8 as well. Custom shift paddles, the Italian flag metal spokes. There's red stitching throughout this entire interior. There's more leather on more surfaces in this car compared to the RS Q8, including the ceiling and the sun visors right here, which is really nice. And Lamborghini has gone that extra mile to make it feel like you're getting $200,000 to $240,000 if you buy it new worth of a car. There's Lamborghini badges everywhere, like I said, on the steering wheel. There's some on the passenger side dashboard. You have it Lamborghini embroidered into the headrest, along with the hexagonal pattern that Lamborghini likes to use in the seats as well. Lamborghini has done a lot to make it feel like you're in a Lamborghini and not an Audi. Anyways, let's drive it. So first, before I actually start driving, I'm going to tell you guys and explain to you guys how to put this thing into drive, because I don't think everybody knows how to put these into drive. So when you get in the car, of course, it's going to be in park. And you're going to notice down here under the fighter jet switch next to the stop button or the start stop button, there's no button or lever for drive at all in this car. What you have to do is actually click the right paddle, and that puts it into drive. But I am here to explain that, you know, the driving experience is nice. The suspension is soft. It is quick. The engine is extremely smooth. The transmission, it's a ZF8 speed. So it's extremely smooth and well calibrated. I want to talk about who's buying this car. The Lamborghini Urus is a status symbol. Lamborghini as a whole, the whole brand is a status symbol. What you get for an extra 100 grand is you get materials and you get presence and brand name, and that's okay. You don't have to get much more than that. At the end of the day, though, it does have the brand and the materials and the quality of a Lamborghini, it doesn't have that certain specialness that the supercars do. And that's okay, because it's an SUV. You're supposed to be able to drive this every day. People drive their Uruses as daily drivers all the time. No one buys a Urus and doesn't drive it every day. So it's not Lamborghini's flagship halo car that they expect people to drive only on the weekends. This is the everyday, and this is really weird to say, this is the everyday Lamborghini where people spend $200,000 on a daily driver, and that's perfectly fine because people do that with Rolls Royces. They do that with Bentleys. They do that with Porsches. They do that with all kinds of cars. So it's okay to do it with a Lamborghini, and that's what people do with these. And so maybe it isn't an RS Q8, and maybe they're though the same base motor and maybe the same base chassis, they're not the same because each of the brands has done something unique to them. It just so happens that Lamborghini just didn't change certain things that maybe the other brands did when it comes to sharing chassis and engines across platforms and across brands. So overall, I think that the Urus is great, and I think that they hit it out of the park when it comes to building a car that feels like a Lamborghini and drives like a daily driver. And that's a good thing because that's what this car is meant for. And it's also extremely fast. So that's a pro. Yeah, anyways, guys, if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more from us, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.